I started with X-Blades only 6 months ago. I think for me, having played professional sport for so long, I know how important it is to have the right equipment, the right boots, and X-Blades for me are fantastic. Not only do they look good, they're very supportive, and also they do lots of other apparel. So I see it as a great opportunity for me, you know, within the sporting arena. Not only that, post-rugby, it's a great business opportunity. And ultimately, I believe that the company is going places at the moment. When I retired from rugby, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I didn't know whether I was going to do a little bit of coaching or go into other business ventures. I suppose that's a big dilemma for lots of players, having played for so long. You know, what can you do that really floats your boat? You know, rugby is very demanding, but it's very rewarding as well. It demands a lot of you physically and mentally. So I'm enjoying the opportunity now to stay within the sport, to still be working with top class athletes, because I know from experience what they demand, you know, from sportswear, from boots, and that for me is very fulfilling. Lots of people ask me whether or not I miss playing, and I must admit I don't really miss playing. Having played for so long, played rugby league, played rugby union, I've ticked all my boxes. If I'd have written down when I first started, you know, a wish list, I've achieved more than I would have put down. So I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity in both codes. It's great now to be able to look back and see, you know, what you've done and really enjoy it, because when you're in the sport, you're really going from one thing to another. You play one big game, you know, there's not long in between before you have to get ready for the next one. So now I can just look back with fond memories at some great times and great opportunities. The best player I've ever played with, I mean, that is a very difficult question. If you had to pick one guy out of quite a lot, Joe Nolomu, I think most wingers, fullbacks, backs would say he created havoc in most sides he played against. You know, he was very fast, he was very powerful. He did have a step, not that he needed it, as England found out on many occasions, but he was a real specimen. My most memorable moment in rugby has to be 2003 World Cup final win. I played in 3 World Cups, 3 World Cup finals, so I know what it's like to lose in a final. But thankfully in 2003, going out there with such a fantastic squad, we achieved the ultimate goal in rugby, and that memory will live with me for a lifetime. Guys like Kyle Eastman and Joel Tompkins, they have done very well up to now. I still think there's a lot more to come from them, but as players, I think they'll be happy. They've not been in the game very long. It's a lot harder than most people think, making the switch from rugby league to rugby union. Technically, rugby union is very different to rugby league, so there's a lot as a player to get used to. But they're both young, you know. They've got there are 2 great clubs who are playing very well at the moment, and when you look at it, World Cup in under 2 years' time, you know, these guys have really got to step up to the mark now, because everybody will be fighting for a spot come the World Cup. So I think those two guys are doing well at the moment, but in order, you know, to really progress, as I know they probably want to do, and get hold of those shirts and keep them, I think there's a little bit more to go. But they're both fantastic players and very gifted. Well, I think the transition from league to rugby union is very difficult. I think some will make it look easier than others. It also depends on which position you play. If you are a forward, which not many will make the transition from league to union if you're a forward, I think you'll struggle more because of, you know, the scrums and the technical side to it, line-outs, etc. But the backs should fare a lot better. Thankfully, you don't have to get involved in certain areas as much as the forwards. But there is a lot of it you learn as you go along. It didn't take me long to, you know, to learn a lot about the breakdown, because you know when you're at the bottom of ruck and you get shooed and you have to get out of the way, it doesn't take too many shootings before you learn to get out of the way. So a lot of it is learnt on the go, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate actually how much you have to take in. If you're brought up in rugby union, everything's natural. When you come from a league background, the simplest of things, just a ball placement, you know, body angles, you know, just positional play, it is quite difficult. But you know, I always see them as a chess and a drafts. But you know, they're both fantastic games. And for me, rugby union, you know, certainly built upon what I'd learned in rugby league. So, you know, for me, I had the best of both worlds, which is fantastic. England's chances for the Six Nations, I mean, it's going to be very tough. We know that. They came very close last year, and then were a severe lesson in the final game against Wales. Everybody's going to be looking at Wales this year as the team to beat because of their record. But England, it'll be interesting to see how a lot of the young players go. There's going to be some guys given the opportunity with the likes of Wade and Marlon Yard out, so there'll be some new guys in there who've got a great opportunity, because the World Cup, as we've said, is under 2 years away, and those guys need to cement those places down. They need to get a good run of form, even though it's, you know, we could say 2 years is a long time. It's not a long time when you're preparing for a World Cup. So, you know, I'm hoping that England will have a good showing. We know physically they'll be up to it, as they were in the autumn. It's just whether or not we can get this back line functioning, you know, whether we can be a threat with ball in hand. Because at the moment, I don't think we're asking too many questions of the opposition team. Yes, defensively we're quite good, we get into right areas, but I think for me, especially when I used to play, where you break down teams a lot is the counter-attack. And we just need to see England just, you know, playing a little bit wider, getting the strike runners in a little bit of space, let them have a go, and that ultimately will stretch teams and just make them realise that it's not just route one and kicking for goal. So I'm hoping that we see a little bit more width in England's attack, but it's a great opportunity, and hopefully they'll do well.